My name is Heidi Walsh, and I'm 30. Last month at a family dinner, my parents dropped a bombshell. Stop being selfish, Mom snapped, slamming her fork down. That store is a free house. Sell it to your brother, or you're no longer our daughter. The room went silent. My brother smirked, thinking he'd won. The store, worth $700,000, was my late husband's legacy. They thought I'd cave under their threats. I didn't. I just smiled, stood up, and walked out a week later. They showed up at the store with a realtor, expecting to take over. Oh, they wished they'd never stepped inside. Want to know why? Stick around. This gets wild. If you've ever faced a family ultimatum, share your story in the comments and smash that subscribe button for more drama. Before that dinner, my life was a different story. I met Nolan Fisher, my husband, 7 years ago at a Birmingham art fair. His easy laugh and sharp mind caught me off guard. We clicked instantly, trading ideas about design and sustainability over coffee. Nolan dreamed of opening a natural food store in 5 Points, a place where locals could buy organic produce and feel connected to their community. I was a freelance graphic designer juggling deadlines, but his passion pulled me in. Together, we mapped out every detail. Nolan handled the business side, securing a $300,000 loan and negotiating with suppliers. I designed the logo, crafted signs, and built a warm, authentic brand. After 2 years of late nights and shared dreams, the store opened, valued at $700,000. It was our pride, a symbol of partnership. Nolan wasn't just a dreamer. He was a doer, sanding shelves, charming vendors, sketching expansion plans on napkins. We'd sit in our tiny apartment laughing over takeout, plotting how the store could grow into a chain. I felt unstoppable with him. My freelance work thrived, but the store was our true legacy. We talked about kids, travel, a bigger home someday. Then one stormy night, it all fell apart. Nolan was driving back from a supplier in Montgomery when a truck ran a red light. The police called at 1 a.m. I raced to the hospital, heart pounding, but he was already gone. The grief was suffocating. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, but I kept the store alive. Every shelf held a piece of Nolan. Letting it go would have meant letting him go. Growing up, I was invisible to Mom and Dad. They poured their attention into my brother, their perfect son. At 12, I won a state art competition, but they missed it for his baseball tryouts. In high school, they bought him a brand new car while I scraped together cash for a second-hand laptop. His C's earned praise. My A's got a shrug. When I earned a scholarship, they skipped my graduation. My brother got a lavish party for barely passing. I learned to push forward alone. Nolan was different. He saw my talent, cheered my victories, believed I could do anything. Losing him left a void no one else could fill. Mom and Dad never valued the store. To them, it was just a paycheck to hand over to their favorite. They assumed I'd fold like always. But this time, Nolan's memory gave me strength. I wasn't that overlooked kid anymore. A week after the dinner, I sat in my lawyer Lois Bennett's office. She slid a document across the desk. "This is Nolan's will," she said. "He left the store in 5 Points to you, Heidi. It's legally yours." The words hit me hard. The store, valued at $700,000, was Nolan's legacy, our dream. No liens, no disputes, just my name on the title. I clutched the papers, feeling Nolan's trust all over again. My parents and brother had no claim. 2 days later, they showed up unannounced. "We heard about the will," Mom said sharply. "That store should help your brother, not sit in your hands." Dad nodded. "It's only fair. He needs it more." They hadn't even asked how I was coping without Nolan. To them, the store was just cash for their favorite child. They pushed past me onto my couch. Mom leaned forward. "Your brother has a chance to invest in a startup. Sell the store, split the money, give him what he deserves." Brent smirked from the corner. "Come on, Heidi. Don't hog it. I could make millions." His smirk reminded me of every bailout they'd given him. Failed classes, wrecked cars, bad jobs. I took a deep breath. "The store is mine," I said firmly. "Nolan left it to me, not him." Mom's face twisted. "You're being selfish, just like always." Dad pointed. Think about family. Don't make us choose between you and your brother. The threat stung, but it wasn't new. They'd always chosen him. At 15, they paid for his camp while I worked to afford art supplies. At 20, they covered his rent when he dropped out, but ignored my graduation. Now they wanted Nolan's gift to me. I'm not selling, I said. Mom scoffed, grabbing her purse. You'll regret this, Heidi. Dad followed in silence. Brent lingered, tossing a final jab. You're making a big mistake. I closed the door, hands trembling. Their words echoed years of being overlooked. But this time, I wasn't backing down. The store was Nolan's belief in me, something they'd never understand. Lois had warned me. Stay strong. Call if they try anything. I tucked her card away, knowing I'd need it soon. My parents thought they could bully me, but I was planning my next move. The store was mine, and I'd protect it no matter what. But I wasn't prepared for what came next. By Monday, whispers spread through Birmingham. Mrs. Larson, our old neighbor, called with judgment dr. Ipping in her voice. Heidi, I heard you're keeping that store all to yourself. Your brother needs help, you know. Later, my cousin Jenna texted. Why won't you share the money? Brent deserves a chance. The rumors were relentless. Heidi's selfish. Heidi's greedy. She's turning her back on family. By Wednesday, my inbox flooded with messages from my parents' friends. One email from Aunt Carla cut deep. Your parents raised you better. That store could set your brother up for life. Even my old teacher, Mrs. Grant, called. Family comes first, Heidi. Don't let money tear you apart. By Thursday, I ran into Sarah, a family friend, at a coffee shop. Heidi, everyone's talking. They say you're hoarding the store. Is it true? Her frown said she'd already judged me that I left my coffee untouched, chest tight. The community Nolan and I built the store for was turning against me. Calls piled up, 10, then 20, each one a guilt trip. I felt isolated, cast out of my own life, but not everyone believed the rumors. Mara Reed, my best friend, showed up that night with takeout and a fierce look in her eyes. Don't let them get to you, she said, tossing her bag on the couch. Your mom's spinning lies to wear you down. Mara had known me since college, back when I scraped by on scholarships while Mom and Dad funded Brent's every whim. She'd seen how they dismissed my achievements, how they left me to fend for myself. That store is yours, she said firmly. Nolan wanted you to have it. Don't let them guilt you into giving it up. Her words were a lifeline. We talked for hours, and her support reminded me I wasn't alone. That night, an idea sparked. I couldn't keep fighting on their terms. I needed a way to protect Nolan's legacy and shut them down for good. That's when I thought of Spencer Cole, my brother's boss. I'd known him since high school, sharp, ambitious, always business mind. Edition Brent worked at his startup, though he barely showed up. I dug up Spencer's number and messaged him. Interested in a business deal? It's about the store. He replied within minutes. Let's meet. The next day, we met at a diner. Spencer leaned back in the booth, coffee in hand. What's this about, Heidi? I laid it all out. The store, its value, my family's pressure. I want to sell, I said steadily, but on my terms. I'd lease back the upstairs for my design studio. He raised an eyebrow, intrigued. By the end of our talk, he nodded. I'll have my lawyer draft an offer. I left the diner lighter, like I'd taken back control. Mom and Dad thought guilt could break me. They didn't know I was already one step ahead. On a crisp Friday morning, while I restocked shelves, the bell chimed. Mom and Dad stormed in, faces set. Brent followed, smug, with Doris Clark, a local realtor. We're here to settle this, Mom snapped. Doris has a buyer ready. Sign the papers today. Dad's jaw was tight. Enough games, Heidi. Do what's right for your brother. Brent stepped forward, confidence dripping. I've got big plans for that money. My startup's about to take off. You don't even care about this place. Doris cleared her throat. I've got a cash offer, Heidi. It's fair. You could walk away clean. They thought I'd fold. Instead, I took a breath. You might want to hold off on that paperwork. The back door swung open. Spencer walked in, Sharp suit, calm presence. "Morning, Heidi," he said, then turned to my family. "I'm Spencer Cole, the new owner of this store." The room froze. Mom's mouth dropped. Dad's fists clenched. Brent's smirk vanished. Doris fumbled her clipboard. "What do you mean, new owner?" Mom stammered. "I bought the store from Heidi last week," Spencer said evenly. "Papers signed. It's mine now." Their faces crumbled. Dad sputtered. "This is outrageous. You can't just sell it without telling us." "I didn't need your permission," I said firmly. "Nolan left it to me, not you." Brent turned red. "You're my boss. How could you do this?" Spencer raised an eyebrow. "Business is business, Brent. You should know that." Then I dropped the final surprise. "I'm leasing the upstairs as my new design studio. I'm staying right here." Mom's voice rose shrill. "You're leasing from him after all we've done for you?" I almost laughed. All they'd done was favor Brent. Now they faced the consequences. Doris packed her papers. "This changes everything." Spencer turned to Brent. "Since you're here, let's talk about your role. I need someone to manage inventory downstairs. You're hired starting Monday." Brent blinked. "Work here? For you? Take it or leave it," Spencer said coldly. "I don't tolerate slackers." Brent's ego cracked. He expected a windfall, not a job under his boss's thumb. Mom grabbed Dad's arm. "This isn't over, Heidi. You've made a terrible mistake." They stormed out, Doris trailing behind. The weight lifted. I'd kept the store's heart while gaining freedom to grow my career upstairs. BY Monday, Brent started working under Spencer. Every morning, I saw him slouched behind the counter, eyes avoiding mine. The tension was thick. He muttered under his breath whenever I passed with client work. Point one day, arranging a logo display, he snapped, "You think you're so clever, don't you?" I ignored him, but his resentment filled the air. Downstairs, Brent's work was sloppy. Miscounted shipments, misplaced orders, careless mistakes. Spencer noticed. One afternoon, he pulled me aside, shaking his head. "He's not cut out for this. I gave him a chance because you asked, but he's on thin ice." I nodded, unsurprised. Brent had always relied on Mom and Dad to clean up his messes, failed ventures, unpaid bills, half-hearted jobs. Now, under Spencer's watch, there was no one to bail him out. I felt a strange mix of pity and resolve. He was my brother, but I couldn't let his failures drag me down. Each day, as I walked past him to my studio, I steeled myself against his glares, focusing on the designs, slowly rebuilding my career. Meanwhile, Mom and Dad weren't done fighting. They hired a lawyer, Roger Tate, to challenge the sale of the store. One evening, my lawyer Lois Bennett called. "They're claiming the sale to Spencer was fraudulent," she said, calm but firm. "They're saying you coerced him under duress." I nearly laughed. Coerce Spencer, the man who built a tech startup from scratch. The next day in Lois's cluttered office, she spread out the contract I'd signed with Spencer. "This is ironclad," she said. "The sale was notarized, witnessed, and filed properly. They don't have a case." Relief washed over me. Lois's confidence became my shield. The lawsuit dragged on for weeks, draining my parents' savings. One night, their voices cut sharp through the phone. "You're tearing this family apart," Mom accused. Dad chimed in, "We're doing this for your brother's future. Why can't you see that?" I gripped the phone, knuckles white. "You've never cared about my future," I said quietly. This store was Nolan's gift to me, not Brent. They hung up, but their anger lingered, deepening the rift. Lois kept me updated with steady reassurance. "Their lawyers are grasping at straws," she wrote. "The judge isn't buying it." Still, the stress weighed on me. Then Clara Evans, my neighbor, stopped by the store with cookies. "They've been telling everyone you cheated them, but I know better. You've always been the hard worker." Her words warmed me. Soon after, Leonard Hayes pulled me aside. "Nolan built that store for you, not them." I told everyone the truth. Their support spread. Customers returned. Smiles genuine. The tide was turning. Brent's behavior only worsened, late shifts, snapping at customers, arguing over deliveries. One afternoon, I saw him leave Spencer's office, shoulders slumped. My studio upstairs became my sanctuary. I landed a client, a cafe needing branding, and poured myself into sketches, each stroke reclaiming my life. A month later, Lois called with triumph. The judge dismissed their case. The sale stands. I sank into a chair, the weight of months lifting. Mom and Dad had failed, wasting thousands only to lose. Their golden child wouldn't get his way. Brent's failures caught up fast. Another botched inventory cost the store thousands. Spencer told him firmly, "You're done." Brent stormed out, tossing his apron on the counter. He didn't look at me, but I felt quiet relief. His failure wasn't my burden anymore. The fallout hit Mom and Dad hard. With Brent jobless, they sold their Birmingham house and moved to Georgia near my aunt. Mom's last text read, "You've made your choice." I didn't respond. Their silence no longer stung. They'd chosen Brent over me for years. Meanwhile, my studio thrived. Mara, my rock, pitched an idea over coffee. "Let's go into business together. You design, I'll handle marketing." We shook hands, forming Reed Walsh Creative. Our first bakery rebrand was a hit, soon bringing clients from across Alabama. Mara's promotion skills paired perfectly with my designs. The store flourished under Spencer. Fresh produce, organic goods, a coffee bar, and events. My studio became a draw upstairs. One evening, Mrs. Thompson smiled. "This place feels alive again. Nolan would be proud." Her words hit deep. The store was no longer mine, but it still carried his spirit through my presence. Brent's absence left things calmer. I heard through Clara that he'd taken a low-paying job in Georgia. I felt no satisfaction, only closure. They had tried to take everything from me, but I held my ground. One day, a local magazine featured Reed Walsh Creative. Mara framed the article. "We're just getting started," she grinned. I smiled back, lighter than I'd felt in years. The battles with my family had forged me, but they no longer defined me that I'd built. A life on my terms, one sketch at a time. 6 months later, the store was my sanctuary. In my design studio, sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating a new project pinned to the wall. The past year had forged me into someone stronger, someone who knew her worth, and my family, Mom, Dad, and Brent, were gone, not just from Birmingham, but from my life. Cutting ties hadn't been out of anger, but because I deserved peace. Their demands, their favoritism, their attempts to take what Nolan left me, all belonged to a past I no longer carried. Months ago, I'd sent Mom one final message. "I wish you well, but I'm done." She never replied, and I hadn't expected her to. The silence was freedom. The store below buzzed with life. Shelves stocked, coffee bar drawing crowds. My studio upstairs was more than a workspace. It was proof of resilience, a dream Nolan and I once shared. Every logo I designed, every client I met, was a step toward a future built on my own terms. The store's old $700,000 value was no longer a number to fight over. It was a symbol of what I protected, not by owning it, but by carving out my place within it. Spencer managed the business well, and my lease gave me freedom to create without interference. Mara and I had grown Reed Walsh Creative into a local success, contracts with restaurants, boutiques, even a startup in mobile. One afternoon, reviewing a pitch, Mara leaned back and said, "You've changed, Heidi. You're not just surviving, you're thriving." She was right. The battles with my family had taught me to stand firm and value my own voice. Protecting my rights didn't mean shutting out love. It meant loving myself enough to say no. Mara's loyalty reminded me I wasn't alone. The community embraced me, too. Clara stopped by weekly with new neighbors to show my designs. Leonard sent customers from his grocery store, boasting about my work. Their support replaced Mom's old rumors with stories of persistence. One evening, a young artist visited, wide-eyed. "I heard how you stood up to your family. It gives me hope." Her words stayed with me, a rem. My story wasn't just mine. It could inspire others. I often thought of Nolan, of the life we'd planned. He believed in me when I doubted myself. This studio was my way of honoring him and declaring independence that I'd learned to set boundaries, to fight for what was mine, and to live authentically without apology. Losing my family stung, but it was the price of freedom. I wasn't bitter. I was whole day as I locked up one night. I paused at the door, looking at the sign Nolan and I had chosen years ago. It stood proud, a beacon of everything I'd overcome. My life wasn't perfect, but it was mine, built from courage and conviction. I turned to the world and thought of the battles we all face. What's your story of standing up? Share it. Your voice matters.